morning, everyone. Hi, everybody on Facebook. My message today is miracle or mistake. And I heard someone talking the other day about how their parents used to say that she was a mistake. And they were saying that, of course, because, they thought they couldn't have any more kids, and then pop, they got pregnant and had her. But if a kid hears that they were a mistake, it could play some havoc on their psyche growing up, and it could even affect their self-worth and what they think they're supposed to be doing on this earth. And the thing is that she could have also taken it a different way. She could look at it like a miracle, like, wow, my parents couldn't get pregnant and all of a sudden I appeared. Kind of like baby Jesus story or something, And to me, I think that all babies, I don't have my mic on, all babies are miracles, and you know what that means? That makes all of us miracles. I mean, we were all babies at one time, right? Right?
Yes.
And so can't you see yourself as a miracle? Well, today we're going to look at how the idea of miracles comes about in Fillmore's definition, and also look at mistakes and the counterpart, which is mistakes. But we're going to begin with a couple of questions. And my first question for you, there's the baby. She was a mistake. They could have seen it as a miracle. Yeah, she saw it as a miracle. Anyway, I love this quote up here. Not a mistake, not a problem, not a burden, not an inconvenience, not a nuisance, not an accident, not a punishment, but a miracle. Isn't that sweet? And all of you were that miracle at one time. So how do you see yourself is my question. And this is a quote from the Mind's Journal, but I thought it was neat. The universe does this thing where it aligns you with people, things, and situations that match the energy you put out. The more you improve yourself and raise your vibration, the more you will see things that are beneficial to your well-being. This is why it's important for us to take classes. This is why it's important for us to come together in community on Sundays. We're raising our vibration. We're raising the energy of ourselves to a new and higher plane. And how we see ourselves is so important. Because if we can know that we're a child of God, of course we're going to have a different vision than if we think we are a mistake. When we go to that place of negativity thinking, I'm no good anyway, or I'm not the best, or I can't do this. What are we doing to ourselves? We're devaluing who we are as a child of God. And when we do that, we're actually backsliding into that negativeness that can end up in the abyss. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, and the thing is that if we can claim that we're a child of God, and maybe last week you were here when Reverend Warren was talking about that we could all claim to be God, and maybe some of you are starting to claim that for yourselves, which is good. And if we are coming from that place, that's a whole different place than living in that idea of being a mistake. You see, our possibilities are as vast as we can see them. And so we have to change our vision. We have to see in that openness of the vast possibilities that are available to us. We always can walk around doubting our own self-worth and our very existence. That's easy to do. It's easy to discount ourselves. Oh, I'm not cute enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't have the right clothes. You go to that place of negativity. Or we can shake off any doubt and firm up our faith that we are here for a reason. And we are here for a reason. Each and every one of us are here for a reason. Do you believe that?
Yes.
And you might not know what it is. You might go your whole life not really knowing what it is. But I guarantee you, every person that comes to your celebration of life or funeral or whatever you want to call it will have a reason that you were in their life. They will. Whether it was just to sit there and give them a hard time. But we have to view ourselves in that light of God as a child of God, and that's the first step in moving forward on a spiritual journey. My second question is, how do we see other people? Yeah. If we judge people for their behaviors or we judge them because we don't like the way they look, or we judge them for any reason at all, we're backsliding away from our spiritual journey. We're putting ourselves in that negative frame of mind where we are just going to start wallowing around in the mud. That's what I like to say. If we can't see ourselves in the light of God, we're not going to see anybody else in the light of God, are we? No, we won't. That's why we have to start with ourselves. Then we reflect out that light and we see the light in other people, no matter what they're doing, no matter what behaviors they have, no matter what's going on. But the minute our thoughts go to that place of judgment or seeing things less than what we think they should be or not at the standard that we think they should be, then we end up looking at everything like it's a mistake, looking at other people like they're a mistake. And that is not who we want to be or where we want to be, is it? You know, the other thing is that when we're on this path, one of our true purposes and one of the reasons why we're on this earth is to lift up consciousness, is to move forward on that spiritual journey. It is for us to be the best that we can be in the very moment that we're living right now. You know, we sing that song, in this moment right here, I choose joy. And if we can choose joy, or we can choose love, or we can choose peace, whatever it is, we're on the spiritual path. That's where we want to be. That's where we want to continue to journey. Right? Yes. So, you know, all of this aligns with our mission in life should be to bring forth that spiritual place within us that we want to be in communion with someone else. That should be our mission in life. To see the good in other people, to be that good and be that expression of God and share that good with other people. So, my next question is, what do you believe about miracles? Do you believe in miracles? Because I do. Everybody believe in miracles? You don't have to. Yeah. Well, let's look at from the revealing word of how Fillmore defines it, which I think is pretty funny because he starts off with the definition from Webster. Yeah. And he says, an event or effect in the physical world beyond or out of the ordinary course of things. I would say that's what a miracle could be. Deviating from the known laws of nature or transcending our knowledge of these laws. Sometimes we just go, oh, that's a miracle, right? We say that. Something happens, we say, oh, that's a miracle. Well, it's going to be kind of interesting to see the rest of this and see what Fillmore tells us about miracles. And this is where some unity people go off on the deep end because, you know, then they'll say there are no miracles, which Fillmore says that, but he says it in a way because of the way spiritual laws work. In reality, miracles are events that take place as a result of the operation of a higher unknown law. Will you agree with that? Yeah. Yes. All true action is governed by law. Nothing just happens. Right. See? Now we have to start switching our thinking because if we just think something happens, oh, I got lucky today. That happened. That was something good. I found $20. I was so lucky. I won the lottery. No, things happen by cause and effect. All happenings are the result of cause and can be explained under the law of cause and effect. I won the lottery because I bought a lottery ticket. You're not going to win the lottery without buying the ticket first, right? Right. So if we are holding thoughts that are good, if we're living in that place of I choose joy, I choose peace, I choose love, what are we going to have in our life? What's the effect going to be? Yes, yes. So he goes on to say, mighty things have been wrought in the past by those who had mere blind faith to guide them. We do that. Somebody's in the hospital sick and we're praying for them and we're not really sure what's going to happen. We see the physical condition and we think, oh, that's never going to be. They're goners. You've done that. I know most of us that have gone to the hospital and seen somebody in the hospital bed that looked like they weren't in good shape. You've had those doubts. But then we pray and we get this feeling inside like, hey, I think they're going to be okay. No, I know they're going to be okay. And we start going from that place of faith, it changes everything. And then when they pop out of bed and walking around and having a good time, we realize, we kind of maybe go, oh, that's a miracle. But it was the faith that we had in the idea that God was in the midst of that person that actually made it happen. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, to faith we now add understanding of the law, and our achievements will be fulfillment of the promise of Jesus. He that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do. And Jesus wasn't talking about himself, was he? He was talking about that Christ within, that idea that he has activated, that Christ within him, and he saw beyond any physical. And he knew that if he had the true faith and true understanding of what God can do in your life, then it will happen. And that's the cause and effect. We have to bring it forth from within ourselves. And if we don't bring it forth, then the results might not be as good as we thought it should be, or to the level of goodness that we wanted it to be. And the cool part is that if we do have faith and understanding, it'll be greater than we ever thought it could be. Do you get that? And we can hold that for everything that we do. Anything that we do in life, anything that we desire, the building, whatever. So we can agree that a miracle is something that happens out of the ordinary, right? But then Fillmore educates us that there are no miracles, that everything follows the law of cause and effect. So whatever we are believing will happen, will be the effect, right? And so the spiritual aspect, though, of miracles, what I like to think of, is that we control the power to manifest a miracle. We control the power to manifest a miracle by how we think and what we believe in and what our spiritual understanding of the situation is. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, so our spiritual aspect of what we think is so powerful that we get to decide whether we're going to have miracles in our lives or not. And I think that's so powerful. I mean, just think, if that was a light switch that we could just, and it is basically, a light switch that we could flip on in any moment of time, our vision, or what we would see from there on out would be totally different than what we had before we flipped that switch. Right? And that's huge, people. That's a lot of power God has given us. Power to change, gosh, just even every breath we take. I think it's so important to know for us. And so Fillmore says this from Dynamics for Living. As the body is moved by mind, so the mind is moved by ideas. And when he says ideas, he's talking about divine ideas, God mind, connecting. Right here in the mind, we find the secret of the universe. Everything that we would ever want to know or do, we know and can do. We are connected to that. Flip that switch and turn the power on. It's the power of faith and love and understanding and wisdom being all activated. Well, actually, the understanding comes after we activate those three things. Because every divine law brings forth the highest good. And we speak the words of truth, that capital T, truth, out into the universe. That's going to come forth. Every time we pray here, we lift up in consciousness, and we say that a lot. We lift up in consciousness whatever the prayer request is, or whatever we want to see, whether it's health, great relationships, employment. We're lifting it up in a higher consciousness, that higher vibrational energy that we call God. And we've all felt it, haven't we? And sometimes we bring somebody forward and we pray over them, and we all feel it. We all get the goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps right now. We get goosebumps, or we feel the energy within us, and it's so great. And that's the power I'm talking about. That's the power of that vibrational energy that we call God that moves in and through us. But I'm telling you, people, we have failed in other areas. That's why we're focusing on prosperity next month, because we failed when it comes to prosperity. So many of us still live in lack. Listen, sometimes I think that too. I'll tell you what, at 10:30 this morning, when it was Mark and Judy and Sam and Janelle and me sitting in the sanctuary, I was like going, okay, I'm living in lack. Nobody's going to show up today. That's living in lack. That's a negative thought.
Yes, it is.
And I went in the office and I told Warren, I said, well, I guess I'll just quit. He goes, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? I said, I'll just get me a job. I'll tell you what, though, how many of you have done the same thing before? I'm telling on myself, but I know we do that sometimes, don't we? That little bit of discouragement, that little bit of, oh, poor me, nobody's here. I don't care if nobody showed up. I'm going to do a talk from this stage, and I know the Spirit of God's going to be moving through me. But you know what? We have to activate what?
2 people here.
Oh, good. 2 people online. Yay! No, but we have to realize that we do live in lack sometimes, and that's why a lot of people don't come to church every Sunday. They're living in lack. They get up in the morning and say, I'm not going to church today. But if we don't activate that truth within us on a regular basis, we start stepping back. And guess what I did this morning? I stepped back because I hadn't prayed up. And the minute I went in there and told Warren that, I walked out of that office and I laughed at myself because I thought about my talk today. And I said, oh, yeah, well, you're speaking on this. Don't you think you need to pray about it? So, of course, I stopped and prayed. And it's so important for us to pray and meditate and be in that place where we are going to activate. We're going to flip that power on and feel the presence of God within us. It's so huge. It's so huge. And we do this. We do where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. We activate that God quote all the time when we're praying, when we pray over our prayer box, when we pray over those prayer requests. And I've read those prayer requests every week, and I know there's a lot of people saying, I need this, or I need that, or I need more money, or I need a better job, or whatever it is. So the prosperity piece, the financial piece is in there. Why can't we activate that in our minds? And if one person is living in lack, then it affects all of us. We've gotten to where we're on the same higher frequency, vibrational energy of healing. Let's get there for everything else. Let's see everybody having a great relationship with everyone. Let's see everyone not judging each other or poking at each other or whining to each other or saying negative things. Oh, did you see her? She thinks she's all that. No, let's go to a different place. Let's believe. Let's know. Let's just bring it forth. I think that sometimes we just don't understand the power in the spoken word, in the words we speak. And those words are coming from our minds. And if our minds are connected to divine mind, to God mind, the words come out are only going to be what? Divine, good ones, that's right. But if we take those words in, that message in from divine mind, and we scramble it up in our own mind, then the words that come out are not going to be that, are they? No, they're just going to be scrambled up. We'll build that wall of negativity. We'll be in that place where we just boo-hoo or Eeyore or whatever. So that's where we end up in that place where we start believing in mistakes, that maybe we were a mistake. Maybe we shouldn't even have been born. And I've heard people say this, and I'm not, please don't think that I'm discounting anybody that has had any mental health issues that could have made them feel that way or whatever. I'm not doing that. I'm saying for us, in the general population of people, we always have a choice. Even people with mental health have a choice to choose which way they're going to think and do. And if you're not on this little scope, you could have been underneath somebody else, because that was actually the collage that pops in and out, and I just had to do a still shot of it, sorry. But anyway, what do you believe about mistakes? Well, Charles Fillmore always says missing the mark is a sin, that could be a mistake. I like to think of a mistake as a boo-boo. Just that oops, that little boo-boo. Because the thing about it is, in the human experience, we can make mistakes. But we tend to think of a mistake, the word mistake, as kind of a real negative thing and almost a burden, kind of heavy, don't you? You know, if somebody said, you made mistakes. I mean, either your defenses get up, or you get mad, or you're sad, or feel like somebody's poking at you, right? But you have to look at it like a boo-boo. Oh, I banged my finger, it's a boo-boo. I might even need a Band-Aid. But it's not anything that's going to destroy the rest of your life. We get to choose. We get to choose whether a mistake defines us or improves us. And that's the place we need to go. If your thoughts are going in the gutter, if you're making judgment about other people, if you are complaining about one thing, complaining about another, complaining, you're just making boo-boos. And those boo-boos can easily be switched. The minute we pray and meditate and line up with God, it's like, whew, what was I thinking? Why was I thinking I was going to get me another job? You know, that's not my calling. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing in life. But we do that. We have these little moments of boo-boos. I mean, it wasn't life-changing for me to have that thought, but it wasn't aligned with divine mind. And more of those kind of thoughts could make you push away further and further than your spiritual journey and not be aligned with divine mind. And I don't want to be there, do you? No, we want to stay aligned and go from that place. Our lives will be joy-filled, will be filled with love, will be happy. We will be moving in that place. You know, a lot of people look at the idea of where are you directing your thoughts and focus? You know, what are you really focusing on? Are you focusing on all the stuff going on over here? Or are you focusing within where it really makes a difference? It doesn't matter what's happening out here. It matters where you're coming from and what you're bringing forth. That's why I said I'd be here doing the talk by myself if that's what I feel called to do. But it's like, no, I don't want the other things to distract me. I want to stay aligned with that divine mind, with the thoughts that are coming through me. But, you know, Jesus, when he did all of his apparent miracles, you know, he had a few people around him. And Charles Fillmore defined the 12 disciples and aligned them with the 12 powers. But there was 3 of them that were always with him. It was Peter, John, and James. And Peter is the power for faith, and John is the disciple for love. Disciple for the power of faith, disciple for the power of love, and James is the disciple for the power of wisdom. And Fillmore noticed this in the scriptures, and he said, you know, those 3 things are what kept Jesus in that consciousness of being able to perform those miracles, or being able to see those miracles when other people couldn't see it, where he could, you know, do these things that needed to be done. And so I'm saying, if we have faith and love and wisdom aligned correctly, think about that as being your switch, your power switch, to activate and have a clear understanding of where we need to be to get to that higher frequency, that higher vibrational place that we need to be in order to keep in that place of oneness with God. And it's true. We have to look and see what our thoughts are focused on. You know, this is a director telling this girl some directions, but that's kind of how we have to think about God. God's here giving us directions, saying, focus here, focus there. But it's all from within. It's all saying, focus in and listen, and you will be guided. Jesus said this after he did all these works, and he said, let's say it together. Very verily I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do. From John 14:12-14. And Jesus was again talking about that Christ within him, activating those powers within him and bringing them forth. So it's not about just Jesus, it's about all of us beholding the Christ within ourselves, knowing ourselves first so that we can know each other at a higher vibrational frequency, at a higher energy level that will see the truth. And once we do that, we will be following divine law. We will be following that divine cause and effect that brings forth all things good. Fillmore said this from Christian Healing. Intellectual people do no miracles through faith because they always limit its scope to what the intellect says is law. It's important to remember that. Because you don't want to be that person running around, well, this is the effect because you did this. You know, you call up your friend, you say, oh my gosh, this happened in my life. Well, you know why that happened? Because you went and did, ever had that happen? Yeah. Then you don't want to talk to that friend again. But you have to realize that that is somebody using their intellect. They're not using the spiritual aspect of the divine law of cause and effect, which is different. Because when we know that we're using the divine law, we won't end up in that place of not activating faith. It is when faith is exercised deep in spiritual consciousness that it finds its right place, and under divine law, without variation or disappointment, it brings results that are seemingly miraculous. Who wants those kind of results? I do. I want to activate that within me and bring it forth all the time. And when we can move beyond the physical, when we can let our intellect set aside and align with divine mind and bring forth that which is from divine mind, that which is divine law, we will see a whole new world. We are in a state of unlimited possibilities when that happens. We are allowing Spirit to move in and through us. That's when we get on fire. That's when we feel the goosebumps. That's when we know beyond knowing that we have activated the power of God within us, and we will see all this greatness that is available to us. And the result can only be what?
Good.
Good, that's right. It will be good, and we will know it and claim it and see it for ourselves, and not only for ourselves, we'll see it for other people. And at that point, we can change our vibrational frequency to know and affirm the difference between a miracle or mistake. Thank you for being here today. God bless you. So I have a kind of fun song for you today. It's now I even forgot what it's called. Hold on a second. Do Life Big. I've only listened to it twice, believe it or not. But it was, and I was just going through YouTube looking at songs, and this gal just seemed like she had such great energy, like you could tell she was on fire with, you know, Spirit of God moving through her. But it says, do life big, and I thought, you know, that goes with the message, because, you know, when we can turn on that and activate that vibrational energy within us, we will do life big. And I want to do life big, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear the song.